SNP spokesperson, Amy Gallagher.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. We in the SNP, we oppose these measures to clamp down on people's right to protest, just as we opposed both the Public Order Bill and the Police Crime Sentencing and Courts Bill. On issues like WASPI, on Iraq, on Israel and Gaza, people from Scotland travel to London, to Westminster, to make their voices heard. People feel helpless in the wake of the situation unfolding 24/7 on our social media feeds in Israel and Gaza. They donate what they can in a cost of living crisis. They boycott, they protest. How does Westminster respond? By cutting cost of living support, by banning public bodies from ethically investing, by clamping down on the right to protest, with measures that will particularly impact certain people in society, particularly those living with a disability. Baroness Shami Chakrabarti, the human rights lawyer, has called out today's announcement as more culture war nonsense and highlighted that individuals may have other reasons for covering their faces besides criminality, stating, should rape victims or refugees peacefully protesting really be punished for covering their faces to protect their identities? Isn't this just another example of this government pandering to its far right wing rather than protecting the legitimate right to protest? This government's punishing the majority for a tiny minority's actions, further fuelling their culture war. And for the detail the Minister outlined, a £1,000 fine is significant and unaffordable to people across these aisles, but it is nothing to a Prime Minister who is willing to bet that exact amount on people's lives.
Minister.
I can honestly say I'm sorry, but not entirely surprised that the SNP is choosing to make divisive politics out of what has frankly been a moment of national unity. Because what we've seen here, sadly, in many of these protests, is extremely dignified individuals raising the point, whether it be about Gaza or anti-Semitism. We've seen courageous voices speaking out on all parts of these debates, and we've heard individuals who've made their voices heard extremely clearly and in a dignified way. What we've also seen, sadly, is we've seen some extremists who've chosen that this is the moment to spread hatred and fear, to stoke nationalism or to stoke division. Now, I realise that that is something that she and I take a different position on, as after all, she represents a nationalist wing in our country. And it is a great shame that she's choosing this moment to spread that hatred. I do wish that the Scottish nationalists would see that you are a nationalist party, therefore you're Scottish nationalists. As the Scottish nationalists who are represented in Parliament today have chosen to make a point out of this, may I just say that these protests have been represented across our country in many dignified ways by many people across the whole of the United Kingdom, and that what we are seeking to do here is make sure that those who quite rightly wish to exercise the right to protest across our country can do so in a safe and dignified way.